We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, and 1410 KERI. Our in-studio guest, Andrew Barling, founder of Stockdale Learning Center.
Are you sure it's Barling?
Yes, Darling
Okay.
with a B.
Just checking, Marty, just checking. You know, Andrew, I have lots and lots of questions, but before we get into the questions, tell us your website, how to get a hold of you, or where you're located.
My website is learnnowslc.com, and my wife and I actually put that together. But it's very, very effective, and located presently here in Bakersfield at 1701 West Wind Drive.
You know, there are really a ton of opportunities in Kern County, especially in Bakersfield, for people who want to get into education or get an education. There's Christian colleges, there's regular colleges, there's special learning centers, and there's guys like you that help kids. I know you helped one of my kids years ago, and he's turned out to be extremely successful.
Thank you, Clyde.
You turned him around, I have to say that.
Thank you. Well, he turned himself around. He used the strategies that were taught him because he was very intelligent. You know,
I've questioned that a few times.
Well, that's from a father's standpoint.
Yeah,
I do that with my daughter too.
Obviously, takes after his mother. You know.
Yeah, that's right. It's a female trait. You know,
yeah.
son.
Do you offer any type of scholarship or any type of loans?
I'd like to look within the community to see if there is any. No.
Okay. Do you are your services covered by insurance at all?
Again, I wish they were. No, they should be.
Wow.
Even the public schools should be paying for these services under IDEA.
And you know, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised having... Oops, somebody's phone
Andrew,
there.
you got a call.
Got it. Turn off the phone there. There you go. Having gone through this myself, I'm not surprised that it's not covered. Because, it's not something that people are really looking for, yet it's there.
No.
Yeah.
And it's so prevalent. It's national research studies show that children... Our school-aged children between 5 and basically 18, 20, it could be up anywhere from 12 to 15%. And if you add in ADHD, it could go up even higher. Do you realize that in Kern County alone, with those statistics, we have probably close to 30,000 kids?
Yeah.
And where do they mostly end up? Dropping out or in special education classes.
I have a friend of mine who's a judge, and we were talking about this when my son was taking one of his visits to our local establishment here, the local prison here, one of the prisons, and we talked about this subject, and he said it's amazing how many kids are like this that end up in prison, and yet, we don't have anything to a program like yours to help.
I'm showing a little brochure here.
Yeah, read the front of that brochure.
It's put up by the Learning Disabilities Association of California a few years ago.
Get closer to the mic there.
It shows some handcuffs, and it's a quote saying, "By the time you find out your child is dyslexic, he could be starting his first sentence."
Yes.
And there was a judge in the Midwest that said, if you cannot read, there are only two ways to make a living: welfare or crime, and crime has more status.
Wow.
And it pays better.
Yeah.
But the idea here behind this is the fact that these children oftentimes end up flocking together,
sure,
like birds. And so they tend to go to the lowest common denominator, those that will take care of them, quote unquote, but they'll take advantage of them because these children tend to be very impulsive and very gullible and very persuasive. They can be persuaded easily into the wrong area.
Right. Yeah, and there's almost as if there's I don't know if you'll agree with this, but what I've seen from a lot of these kids, it's almost a lack of conscience. They have
to the point where they don't see the long-term effect of their present decisions.
Right. They don't see the balance between right and wrong. It's blurred.
They don't see. Yeah. Unless it's taught to them. Exactly. In a way that makes it meaningful to them.
Sure.
Yes.
So how do we, we've got the dropout rate because of this. It's very serious. The gang involvement. What do we do to stop it? I mean, what does a program like yours do to stop this?
Well, as we talked about earlier, the important thing is to get these children properly diagnosed, and not just in achievement testing, a full-fledged neuropsych diagnosis that involves education, sometimes neurology, I have colleagues down in the Los Angeles, San Francisco area that will even have brain scans to determine how the brain is actually functioning. And there is a famous world-renowned, I think it's a psychotherapist, he's a neurologist, Dr. Daniel Amen, that does PET scan studies of the brain and has done wonders for diagnosing ADHD because there's over-involvement of neural involvement as well as under-involvement of blood to these critical areas of the brain.
Mm-hmm. Our in-studio guest, Andrew Barling, founder of Stockdale Learning Center.
So I guess one of the questions, or a couple of the questions I'd have, is where do they get information on to get this diagnostic treatment done? Secondly, how much does it cost approximately? And thirdly, who's going to pay for it?
Good questions, Clay, really. I do it. One of my dreams or one of my goals for this community, because I am long-term family here, I'd like to see a multi-professional clinic developed here so that it's not just education, but we can get involved with medical, psychology, social skills training, the whole thing, so we can hit all the areas. In this case, if it's overseen by a clinical psychologist or a medical person with a license, then insurance is more apt to pay for it, whereas I'm just private, and so it has to be out of pocket.
And what would a fee for something like that be, an initial diagnosis?
Depends where you are, here or L.A.
Yeah, definitely.
My fees are overseen strictly by the Association of Educational Therapists, and I'm about half of what should be charged. These fees could go up to, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a diagnostic assessment. I'm well under that.
Well, and then you have to have parents that are really interested in spending some money to make sure their kids have a good education and are able to turn their life around.
Yeah, and here in Bakersfield, education is really not a priority. We have entertainment, we have sports, we have a lot of things that are really good and very important, but education needs to be emphasized a little bit more, especially for these children, because even at this point, at the beginning of the school year, I'm losing critical students that need this kind of training. They are dyslexic, they are learning disabled, but football and sports take after school hours for them than the intervention.
Well, Andrew, I can tell you firsthand, it was very, very costly. Thank God I was in a position where I could afford a good part of it, but it almost ruined me financially. But
it doesn't have to be, Marty.
No, but the insurance, and part of the problem was getting to the point where you could find out what the problem was. Mm-hmm. Because as intelligent as he was, or as he is, he was able to con a lot of the psychiatrists.
They are.
Because he knew exactly he knew exactly how to play the game.
They do. These kids are very, very intelligent. Mm-hmm. It's just that just because they can't do the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, doesn't mean that they don't have good intelligence.
It's interesting that the psychiatrist that actually determined what it was finally watched him at night when nobody was around, just watched him in his room, watched him walking around, and finally picked up on what the problem was. From talking to him originally, he couldn't find anything because he knew the answers. He knew what to say because he is so intelligent. So, I can see where.
Yeah, these children have good intelligence. They just need to learn how to use it properly, because they're the ones that do get into trouble.
Sure.
Yeah.
Andrew, everybody has a reason for getting into a particular business. Why did you get into this business?
Well, I didn't go to my university training for this. I went into this to go into private school administration. And I had the rare opportunity back in the summer of 1984 with my wife Carol to go through training in a private dyslexia clinic in Orange County to basically learn about these children. And the way things worked out, when I realized that there wasn't any other professional dealing with these highly intelligent, low-performing children, my part-time clinic turned into full-time, and I just feel like I just have a God-given passion and empathy for these children. I have ADD myself, and so I can really relate to this. God bless my wife. She's been putting up with me nearly 35 years, And we have a daughter that has it, and she nearly flunked out of the school system here.
Yeah. Andrew, unfortunately, we're out of time. We have to have you back, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Marty. I do appreciate it. There's so much more I could say.
Yeah. We will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180.